Good evening, everybody, and welcome to VSL F2. Here we are for round 7, I believe. Yeah, round 7. At a very familiar setting for many of these drivers. A lot of home GPs tonight, because we are at the one and only Silverstone circuit for the British Grand Prix. And we have a little treat as well, because I believe we have a sprint race. Here we go. It's one-shot qualifying. I completely forgot it was one-shot qualifying, so we're actually going right into it. I'll get to the standings afterwards. Let's do something. We'll go on board with Ryan Berry for these 1 and only laps in qualifying, jumping straight into the action. I completely forgot it was one-shot. Anyway, coming through the loop in the first sector. This is turn 4, I believe. Now onto the Wellington Straight, the first of the DRS zones. 3 around here. No, 2 around here even, sorry. Used to be 3, but anyway, coming through the first sector split. Looking pretty good. Coming through that field, the long right-hander. Run as wide as you possibly can. There is still a lot of track to be used there, so not optimal lines there for Ryan Berry, but current P9, N89 has retired, coming to Cops where the infamous accident happened last year. Nearly flat, not quite, don't run wide, he doesn't, so he's still valid. I assume at least one person will have now come through the famous Madison Beckett complex. Navigates it quite nicely, not carrying optimal speed. There is only one chance to get it right here. Still P9 is saying, so I'm not sure if he's invalidated, but anyway, into the final sector, down the hanger straight. Coming towards Stowe, blind apex. Can't really see the exit until you're on it. There it is, don't run wide still. Very strict with track limits on this game. And into the Vale chicane, getting all over that curve. We're getting all over the second curve as well. Out the final corner. Oh, he nearly spins out the last corner. Absolute disaster there for Ryan Berry. And he's going to reverse across the line in absolute style. Still beats Y Racer and a few people that got disqualified, so not awful considering the little adventure he had there at the end of the lap. But all in all, pretty good. Let me check the audio is working because I didn't have time to before we dived in there. Yeah, so everything seems fine. It's Gareth who takes pole, which is it a surprise? Not really. The top 3 separated by less than a tenth, so very, very close. So yeah, it's Gareth on pole, and Ryan will be joining him on the front row. That's Alpine Ryan. We have multiple Ryans here, so we have to distinguish between them. Liam P3, Mike P4, Raab P5. Has Raab raced before? I don't know. It seems like a new name. Maybe not. But anyway, Newgarden, George, Ryan Berry, Y Racing, Lyo rounding out the top 10. Lyo and everyone beneath did not actually set a lap. So Lyo, LB Racing, I think it's also maybe new. I don't recognise the name. Keverisky, Acorn, and N89 all didn't actually set a lap. But yeah, our breath. I was really not ready for that. I completely forgot it was one-shot qualifying. But yeah, as we get ready for the sprint race, I think it's 9 laps. A bit overcast. I don't think it's wet though. So I assume, I'm not actually sure. I don't know if there'll be softs or mediums. Maybe a split. I don't know. But let's have a look at the standings. We didn't have the standings last week, but we do have them for this week. So it is it's Gareth who leads the way from Davo and Y Racer. They are top 3 in the standings, and the Alpine duo of other Ryan, Alpine Ryan and Acorn in P5, P4 and P5 respectively. Then Mike in the AlphaTauri in P6, Lyo P7, Keverisky P8, Newline in P9, Ryan Berry. That's your top 10 in the championship. Then it is Quinn in 11th, Tony P394 in 12th, Risky 13th, N89 14th. Then Speed Josh, George, LRE Glowstick, Abini 2007, Lee the Reaper, and Fraser McKay is your top 20. So that's how the championship standings are at the minute. So it'll be interesting to see how that may change this evening. A lot of pressure on this race. A lot of home Grand Prix. So people will be wanting to perform tonight. But if they can, who knows? You have 2 shots at it, 2 race starts, 2 opportunities. So we have the 2-minute break. I'm going to quickly grab a drink while we wait for these drivers to ready up. and I'll be back before the sprint race begins. So, be back in a sec. So, I am back just in time for the start of this sprint race. At the overcast Silverstone, do we have? Yeah, we do have a formation up, so we have time to gather our thoughts and have a look at what tyres people are on. So it is a split, mainly mediums, the yellow wall tyres for everyone on this grid apart from Newgarden and LB Racing, who have decided to go for the more aggressive soft option. So they will be quicker at the start, but maybe fade off or even have to pit towards the end. So they will probably be wanting a safety car, and going off how this season has unfolded so far, I wouldn't bet against it. To be honest, there's been a lot of safety cars. So let's wait and see how this unfolds. Silverstone, the track I know the most, and I assume these drivers will know inside and out as well. For once I actually know the corner names, which is always delightful. So as you can see, the zero stop is the suggested strategy, which isn't uncommon for the sprint race, but down there it did say medium or hard. We have soft runners, so let's see. I think they should be comfortably able to go 9 laps, so I think they'll be okay. So they're just coming into Stones. You can see in the background the backlight still coming through Max and Beckett, so maybe a little bit of a weight on the grid is going to be in store for Gareth and the front 5 or so. Getting his weaving on to warm up the tyres. Now coming out the final corner, can they all line up successfully? We have struggled this season for that, but hopefully with maybe use this as a practice run for the actual Grand Prix. As they're 3 wide, looking like they're about to line up for their post-qualifying interviews on the grid. No, we're all struggling. We're all still struggling. 4 at the front 5, getting DSQ'd. But do we really expect anything else? I don't think so. Anyway, here we go. It's nearly time for the sprint race. Everyone's on the grid. Over half the cars getting disqualified. But that doesn't matter, because you still have 9 laps to change your position, ready for the actual race. It's lights out, and it's a good start for Ryan in P2. He loses the back end a little bit, that's going to hold him back. And it's 3 wide going into turn 1. Oh, there's going to end the carnage. No, he just about all get through without dying. There are yellow flags, so someone has been collected. It's George, unfortunately, in the half, so he's all the way at the back. But what is going on towards the front? There's a lot side by side. There's so many battles, but Gareth out front has pulled away 3 tenths from Ryan, so he's come to a little bit. Oh, there's a car spinning off there in the background. I'm not sure who that is. That might be N89 or Rob. I think it's Rob. As the AlphaTauri of Mike goes down inside, he manages to hold it. I don't think he'll be able to go all the way around the outside. Newgarden almost stopped, getting a good start, up 2 or 3 places, I think. but now coming down towards Cops. It's Ryan, maybe burning a bit of battery to get to the back of Gareth. He's not going to go for the move, he's going to sit behind him, wait for a better opportunity to overtake. It's Lyo and Acorn side by side. Lyo all the way off the track. That's going to give him a bad run. Maybe Kev can capitalise. He can. Kev gets past him, so that's Lyo down to 9th. LB not having a good start on the soft, still down in 12th. Let's have a look at the positions. Gained and lost. Now, where do we even see that? I'm not sure. We'll forget that for now because there's a battle going on with the lead. Ryan trying to go around the outside. Gareth doesn't leave him in the room, shuts the door, slams it in his face. Only 8 laps remaining. LB getting a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit, so he must have got damage on that opening set collision. Lyo, what's happened to Lyo? I think he might have had a little half spin on the exit at the final corner. A bit like what we seen from Ryan Berry, but he managed to save it. So unfortunately that is LB in the pits. And he's going to need some miracle to not finish last because there is no time to find, and there are no pit stops, so there is no strategy. But it's Gareth, half second in the lead. He's going to want to pull that 1 second gap before the end of this lap to get out of the DRS, and he's doing a good job of that at the minute. It's Newgarden on the softs in P3. Let's go on board with the Red Bull. He is burning the battery. You can see there on the wheel it is lit up in green. It's like Christmas on Oxford Street. He's run a bit wide though. That might be a warning. Very stupid warning if it is. There's Mike getting all sorts of understeer. Is he an Altaria or a Massey Ferguson? Nobody knows. That is severe. Acorn and Kev Risky making moves. Up into P7. Let's try and find the position to gain thing here. No, here we are. So some big movers. Kev Risky, Acorn and N89 all at 5 places. Newgarden using those soft to his advantage to got 3. Big losers are Ralph, who started 5th and now finds himself in 12th. George in 13th and LB in 14th. So them 3 not having the best of starts. So yeah, let's have a look at how this race develops now that DRS is in play. Kev Risky sets the fastest start, so the guy in P7, see him making moves, and also seems to be very quick. Yellow in the last sector is Raab, who has spun through the Bell chicane, so he found himself now in 13th. Unfortunate for the man who I think is making his debut. I don't recognise the name, he wasn't on the stand-in, so I think that this is his first race. But it's Gareth, 9/10. The cars behind do have DRS, so they could potentially still hold on. But Gareth is doing a very solid job at the minute of pulling that gap to what he needs to. 7 tenths, so just needs to find another 4 tenths, and he is free. He has broke free. Newgarden not making too many gains on the front 2 for what I thought he would, considering he is on the soft compound. So he needs to maybe start shifting his focus towards tyre conservation and making sure those softs do not absolutely fall off a cliff towards the end of this race, because 9 laps around, this is one of the longest circuits on the calendar, and there are a lot of forces going through the tyres. So I mean, look at the evidence from the past few years. We've had quite a few punctures. There's Lee and Mike in the background there. Lee getting past Mike 4P4, so all yellows. There are more yellows. I'm not sure who has it's George this time who has had a little bit of an off, I think, and Acorn maybe. Acorn is spun, he's facing the wrong way on the exit of Stowe, so he needs to turn that around and get going again, because here comes Rob. I don't think he's going to catch him quite in time. LB gets a penalty, so that's his day's going from bad to worse. There's Acorn is spun again, so those tyres have overheated. He's tried to get going, but the tyres are saying no, they are not agreeing with him, like a chicken korma on a Friday night. Oh, he's gone again. Pirouettes, he's on the waltzer right now. So a disaster there for Acorn. But let's go back towards the front. Let's leave Acorn to do his pirouettes on his own. Give him a bit of privacy. Newgarden is nearly falling out of that DRS range. Same for Ryan. Them two are struggling a little bit for pace. Gareth showing why he's our championship leader. Just seems to have so much more pace than everyone else at the minute. Bit of a train actually forming behind Newgarden for P3. So Lee, Mike and Ryan and Kev maybe licking their lips towards the end of this race when Newgarden's tyres do die. Although he has pulled a few tenths back on Ryan, so he will be getting DRS down the hanger straight. Should be safe for this lap. Let's have a look. What is Lee's straight on speed like? It's good. It's good. We've seen him at the move last lap, and now he's going down the inside of the soft runner into Stowe. A little bit of wheel banging. Still side by side, coming down into the Vel chicane. Newgarden has the preferred line. Oof. Lee does the smart thing and decides to back out. I think that was the correct decision. Kev Risky, who in the special liveried Ferrari, who has shown so much pace, has spun while Gareth sets the fastest lap. So he's going from strength to strength. Is the Williams man. He's pulling away at a rate of knots. A lot of penalties coming through. We have a safety car, I think. Do we have a safety car? Let's get the track mark up, see if the safety car is coming out. Yeah, we do. We have a safety car, so this could it's a few drive-throughs as well. So yeah, this is maybe a chance for some people to pit for softs, because this is only going to be a 2 or 3 lap dash to the end. This also saves Acorn, who has had an absolute mare. Look at those penalties though. From 7th downwards, nearly everyone has penalties. So this could be a blessing for some. The likes of Acorn, who doesn't have a penalty, this is very good for him. But for the likes of Y-Racer and Lio, this is awful, because they are going to be hindered massively, because the safety car will bunch the pack up, and then that penalty, the effect of it will be multiplied as Acorn. As I was just saying, this saves him. He goes and speeds into the pits and shoots himself in the foot. It's a safety car, you don't need to push, but he decides to push. Going very slow under the safety car. Where is our leader? Gareth coming down the home straight. Be interesting to see whether he pits or not. I'm going to imagine he's not going to. Let's see though. This is very interesting actually. I think it's a 50-50 whether you pit or not. Let's have a look. Gareth stays out. Is Ryan going to pit? No, Ryan stays out. So does Newgarden. They're all staying out. They're proving me wrong. Absolutely nobody's pitting. Mike is taking a gamble. So is Y-Racer. Now, what will the cars behind do? This could get interesting. If everyone from 6th downwards pits, we will have a massive divide on pace. Liar's pitting, N89 stays out, so does Kev, so the Ferrari duo deciding the mediums are better. Will it be a classic Ferrari strategy and hinder them? Or will it maybe be a strategic masterclass? Who knows? We don't have long to find the answer though, because we only have 4.5 laps left of this British Grand Prix. These lot are going so slow. Acorn's nearly a lap down. I don't know if the people at the back are actually going to be able to catch or not, because I mean, the safety car is going to come in. If it's not the end of this lap, it'll be the end of the next lap, I imagine. So, you know, they don't have long to catch. Probably don't have time to pit either. So LB is on 3 lap old softs. They won't be too badly warm, but they definitely won't be fresh as the likes of Mike and Y-Racer. There's some side-by-side action going on under the safety car. Some of the best action we've had all year between Ryan and Lee. Side-by-side to cops, doing what Hamilton and Verstappen couldn't do. Showing why VSL is the elite league. This sort of driving standards. Look at that. Incredible. So our last place runner, Acorn, is just coming across the start-finish line, whereas the leaders are just coming through Max and Beckett. So that's about a 1 minute gap, I'd say. That's at full race pace, but I think Acorn will be going at full pace because his delta will have vanished to allow him to catch up to the pack. So let's see if he can catch up. Safety car's not coming in this lap, I don't think. Let's have a look. No, the lights are still on. You can see them there. The lights are still on, so we have at least one more lap under the safety car. Maybe going next time by. That would make sense. Newgarden has spun. That is... Oh, it's causing all sorts of carnage. Oh, someone's pitting there. Who's that pitting? Is that a Ferrari? That is a Ferrari. That's N89. Who manages to speed into the pits? Oh, this is a mess. This is a mess. This is an absolute mess of a safety car. What is going on here? Oh, Newgarden's causing all sorts of problems. I'm not sure what's going on. There's just penalties flying left, right and centre. People spinning, overtaking, speeding. Bit of a mess, unfortunately. So I'm not 100% sure. Let's have a look at the penalty situation. So there is a drive through for Kev. a 5 second for Ryan, a 3 second for Y Racer, 3 more drive-throughs for Rob, Lyle and M89, 11 seconds for LB. The penalties are all over the shop. That is unfortunate, to be honest. You don't like to see penalties, you like to see the race decided out on track, and they are going to have to serve those drive-throughs, I think, otherwise they will be disqualified. So there are two separate races, those without drive-throughs and those with drive-throughs. The pit lane, especially around here at Silverstone, it's a long pit lane. I know on the minimap it does look like it does cut out the last 3 corners, but the speed limit is slow, so even without stopping it's at least, I'd say, between 20 and 25 seconds in the pits. Normally with a pit stop make that close to 30 seconds, so this is really a racetrack where you don't want to be stopping unless it's absolutely essential, but in the case of having a drive-through it is an essential pit stop, or not a pit stop, a pit entry, because you will be getting black flagged if you don't do it. So I think safety car will be in this line. Let's have a look. Can't walk with Gareth, because he will be our man in command when the safety car does decide to come in. And there it is. Bert Mylander disappears off into the distance, puts his foot down. Look at him absolutely vanishing. Go on, Bert. So now it's all about getting temperature in the tyres, all the weaving down the hanger straight. Look at that. Beautiful. With that heat being generated. You don't have to worry about your energy bills with these cars in your front room. So here we go. It's nearly time for Gareth to get us back underway. There's a lovely front wing camera there. The engine will roar when he puts his foot down. Will he go on the exit of the Vale chicane? It would make sense if he does right about now. But he's waiting, still waiting. Bunching up the pack. This has caused carnage in the past. Let's hope everyone can keep it clean. Still not gone. There we go. He's gone now. Ryan gets a decent jump actually. Only 2 tenths behind. We've had a spinner there in the back. I'm not sure who it is. In fact, I think they might have saved it. Here comes Ryan Berry though. I thought other Ryan had a good start, but Ryan Berry has an even better start in the McLaren, down the inside up to P2, but he has a drive-through to deal with. There's more battles going on in the back. Mike and Kev Ruski, Mike and the AlphaTauri on the fresh softs up to P4. What can he do? Only 2 laps left. He has got fresh tyres. Ooh, there's a spin there for Lee. As the Red Bull also on Y Racer, I believe, also goes off. Lee doing donuts down the Wellington Straight. Absolute mayhem on this restart. What else did you expect? Ryan trying to go all the way around the outside, tries to cut back through Luffield, but doesn't quite get the launch. Down into Cops though, he's burning. He's not catching enough though. What about other Ryan? No, he's a bit too far back. Good lines from Ryan Berry. Oh, runs a little bit wide. That's going to compromise him down to the Beckett's complex. More yellows. We've had an off through Cops. That is a fast corner for Rob to go off, and Ryan makes a mistake, and that's going to allow Mike through. All sorts of mistakes and overtakes happening left, right and centre. Mike on the softs up into P4. Only 2 more places to go, but only 1 lap to do it. Can he do it on the fresh Red Bull soft tyres? He's got a lot more grip than these cars in front. They're on 7.5 mediums. He's on fresh softs. Rob spins again down to last place. Lee up into 13th. There's more battles going on between the Red Bull duo. Kev Ruski pits for his drive-through. That is another thing. There are drive-throughs to be served. Ryan Berry, I think, has a drive-through to serve, does he? Where can we see that? No, sorry, Ryan Berry has a 5 second, he doesn't have drive-through. So Ryan Berry at the minute will finish somewhere in the lower top 10. Mike is net P2. Rob gets 5 second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. As you can see, everyone else at the top 10 has had to pit for drive-throughs. What a run here! Look at the grip he has. Mike, can he go down the inside? No, he's not going to be close enough. Through Luffield, can he try and maybe get a run? Rob retires, so he will be starting confirmed last. But I don't think Mike is going to have enough corners to get up to Gareth. Ryan Berry is not in his battle, and other Ryan behind has fallen back to the point where he cannot challenge. It's going to be Gareth who's going to win these sprint races, I believe, but are there any more battles going on further back? Everyone's trying to keep it clean. There is no DRS, and we won't get any DRS. For the rest of this race, so it's going to have to be an organic overtake. I don't think these drivers will be capable. We actually have Y Racer, Donna Perez, and off through Chapel. Oh, that is a shame. Going into the last sector, he makes a mistake and loses 4 or 5 positions. But anyway, here we are. Gareth, he had a safety car restart to deal with, and he done it beautifully. Never really came under any pressure at all race really. And it's going to be Gareth who is going to start from pole, and more importantly, take the sprint race win. Mike in P2, gaining from that Ryan Berry 5-second penalty. Other Ryan in P3, George P4, Ryan Berry drops down to P5, only 1/10 off P4, so nearly a really, really good recovery there from him. Lee sets fastest up on the last lap. Newgarden in P6, Acorn 7, LV8. Y Racer has crossed the line in P9, and Lee with the fastest start also gets P10. Kev Ruski 11th, Lyo entering the pits in 12th. And will N89 actually beat him? A 20-second time penalty for Lyo for not serving his drive-through. And does that mean N89 beats him? I don't even think it does. I think N89 might still finish behind him. So a lot of drama there. The game has given Acorn driver of the day, but I think you've got to look at Gareth for maintaining such composure in a chaotic sprint race. So Lyo did beat N89 somehow. How many penalties did N89 have to not benefit from that 20-second penalty that Lyo got? I don't know. My game has hopefully not broke. I did click on the race director, but I'm just looking at where you can see what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing any menus. Oh, here we are there. 30 seconds. Hopefully it fixes itself. But yeah. So Gareth claims the win in that sprint race, and that is looking good for him going into our proper race. He seems to have good pace in the Williams car, as he's had all season really. Our championship leader has had pace at every race, but more importantly, as he showed just then, his consistency is top notch, best of bunch. He just finds himself not in trouble too often and always near the front. That's what you need, you know. If you're fast, you can win a race, but if you're consistent, you win championships. And the way it's going, that is what Gareth is going to do. He's going to win the VSL F2 title if he carries on this sort of form. But I think we have another 2-minute break, so I'm going to give the voice a little break and go and get some smooth liquid. So I'll be back in just a minute. I am back, so yeah, let's get ready for the actual British Grand Prix. Should be readying up sometime soon, I think. Must have been 2 minutes by now, so yeah, there we go. So there is the ready up 30-second timer begins. So let's see what tyres our drivers are decided to start on. Did they get a bit of data in the sprint race? Those that were on the mediums and those on the softs. Could that maybe influence the strategy for this the actual race? Who knows? Let's find out. And let's get the tyres up. So there are some hard compounds coming out for, most notably, Gareth in P1, choosing to go long in this race on the hards, maybe gambling on there being no safety car, which is, well, going off statistical data that I have 100% gathered legitimately this season. That is not a good shout, gambling on not a safety car, because there have been plenty of safety cars but getting in the miles. And also, well, everyone else on the mediums all the way down until P11, where we have Kev Rusky in the very nice red and yellow Ferrari on the hards as well, and the man behind him, Liar Blade, also choosing the hards for the Aston Martin. So then they will be going long, and 13th and 14th, N89 and Rob also on the medium. So they will be looking to get past Kev and Lio early on, hopefully on the first lap, while those hards are Chile. Gareth isn't holding about here, he's booking it. As you can see, the predicted pit stops, it is a one stop for all of these drivers because there are no soft runners on the grid. So yeah, just a hard medium or medium hard depending on what you started on. That is the predicted strategy, but that doesn't account for this being VSL F2. An absolute carnage is absolutely guaranteed to ensue. So there will be safety cars aplenty. So you've got to factor those into the strategy. A good old safety car. I think it's very important to remember that. Yeah, Gareth nearly finished his formation up already, while Rob is nowhere near. So you'd think he might want to slow things down because he's on the hards. His tyres are going to be an absolute pain in his rear end for the first lap or two, so he doesn't really want to be waiting on the grid a long time, and the way it's going, he's going to. Ryan Berry absolutely flies past his grid slot, gets reset. That'll be a reset for other Ryan as well, so the Ryan's not having a good time of it. Neither are a few people. It's going to be Rob in the Alfa Romeo on debut to be the last person to line up to the grid. Stops it nice and early, but here we go, let's get ready for the British Grand Prix. Gareth on pole on the harder compound, Mike next to him. Here come the lights. I thought we'd broken then, but here we go, 5 red lights. And it's lights out, the lights got held for a long time. It's a good start for Gareth on the hards. There's a late move there from Mike on George, and I might have given George some damage, but it's a good second phase for Alpine Ryan, who gets into the lead. Here comes Ryan Berry, the Ryan duo, getting an absolutely amazing start. Ryan Berry going to go down the inside, up into P2, and there's some spinners there in the background. Ryan Berry goes wide, goes off the track, going to go down the inside again, maybe contact. There's that going on the outside, that's Mike goes around the outside of the wall. I'm stumbling over my words, absolute steam too on the opening first sector. There's carnage behind Newgarden off into the wall somewhere, visiting the countryside, the British countryside. Seeing David Attenborough for a tea party, and just Gareth getting loose on those cold hards. There is no grip, just as predicted, and he's had a slow start to it all. There's more spinners in the background, and can Mike around the outside through Woodcut, still side by side, coming into Cops. What can he do? Tries to, gets understeer, has to back out of it, maybe going for a switchback into Maggots and Beckett. I think he might get it done. He does. Great move there from Mike and the AlphaTauri. That is a crucial move because Ryan already has a 2.5 second lead. But it's McLaren, Ryan Berry, who's going to be looking to get past Gareth now. Those hards are not serving him well at all. Y-Racer will be wanting to get his nose in this as well. Oh, no, lots of grass. He's on the grass, he's doing more mowing. That is dirty from Gareth. Oh, wow. Absolute carnage here. Gareth doesn't leave him any room, pushes him onto the grass, turns him into a lawnmower. Absolute scenes. And I don't think Ryan Berry will be too pleased about that, because that did get grass on his tyres and made him lose 2 positions in the end. Y-Race did get past Gareth anyway, so Gareth down to P4 after starting P1 and seemingly getting a good start. It's going to be Lyle now looking to get past the Williams man. Looking for the inside, but not quite close enough to go for the move. But Alpine Ryan getting an incredible start, nearly 2.5 seconds to the good already. Rob, the man who started 14th up into 7th, and with this group of cars, wow, I'm still trying to get over that first half. That was incredible. It's Akon and M89 battling here, and Akon gets the move done up into P11 through Luffield. So Gareth not really having much pace at the minute. He's got Lyo, who started I think P12 or 11 on the hards, right behind him up in P5. So Lyo's had an incredible start. That's completely gone under my radar. And now, wow, that is a really good start for Lyo. He's gained 6-7 positions. Let's have a look, actually. How many positions has he gained? He has gained 7 positions already on the hard tyres. The Raab gaining 7 as well. Y-Race are gaining 6. So there's more battles going on here with Lee and George. Lee in P9, George in P10. George got pushed into the wall. Oh, who spun? Y-Racer in the Red Bull is spun on the exit of Stowe. Oh, and he's having to wait for everyone to go past as well. Ryan sets the fastest lap, so Y-Racer demoted to 14th. His Red Bull compatriot P13, Christian Horner, will be ripping whatever hair he has left out. The Y-Racer spun again, so it goes from bad to worse for the Red Bull camp. But it's Gareth now up in P3, gaining from that Y-Racer spin. But Lyo hot on his heels. What can he do? DRS active for the first time this race. But Lee has had a spin as well, and he's going to give it another one just for good luck. He's down to P13. So these drivers struggling with maybe some cold conditions. It is overcast here at Silverstone, so maybe this is preventing a bit of tyre warm up and making the track a little bit less grippy, especially for these hard runners. But they're not the ones that are spinning. They're doing well, maybe a bit slow, but they're definitely not having these major incidents like some of the medium runners. It's Ryan Berry though, who is going to be looking at maybe making some moves sooner rather than later, because he doesn't want to be stuck behind these lot for too long and allow Alpine Ryan and Mike to pull away. They're nearly 5 seconds, they're over 5 seconds in front of him already. So this is, as Ferrari would say, it is critical to pass. Good line there through Stowe. Maybe a little bit better than Lyo and Gareth in front, so it will be tricky because Lyo will have the DRS from Gareth, so maybe he needs Lyo to have a little nibble at Gareth before he can capitalise. Raab, on the other hand, must be very happy. He got 8 positions from starting last up to P6. And we're only on lap 4, so very good from him. But the front two running away with it as it stands. As the absolute commentator's curse there. Commentator's curse 101. Raab having a great start. 5 seconds later, he spins down to P12. I'm not too sure how he's done that, because he spun, it looks like under braking, and that is quite difficult to do on the F1 game. So I'm not too sure. Lee's pitting for hards in the Williams, so he's down to the last. But yeah, a curious one there for Raab. I'm not too sure how that's happened. But in fact, it's Lyo who's pulling away from Ryan Berry. So Ryan Berry on those mediums, not showing ultimate pace. I'm not sure. Maybe there could be damage for some of these drivers. There was quite a lot of wheel banging on the opening lap, so there's definitely possible damage for a few. But it doesn't seem to be hindering Ryan Berry too much if there is any, because he took down Magnussen Becker's complex very nicely and is now only half a second behind Lyo. Let's have a look at the battery. So Gareth with 80%, Mike with only 25, Lyo with 65, and Ryan with 55. So batteries are not being absolutely gobbled through like we've seen on in previous races. So that's good for the battling. There will be some juice to defend with. Ryan Berry setting the fastest lap of the race, so he's showing he does have the pace. He just needs to maybe manoeuvre himself around these two in front and focus on those front two. But at the minute, not able to make too much inroads. What can he do? Down the Wellington Straight, 1 lap 5 of this race. Still 21 laps to go, not including this one. But Laya seems to have pretty good straight line speed there. You could see him pulling away, I think. The gap definitely wasn't coming down that drastically. So, yeah, Ryan Berry stuck in a bit of a hard place here. So it could be Laya who gets the ball rolling for some battles developing. He has decent battery and decent straight line speed anyway. A little bit of understeer in the car there. You could see that. Does that give Ryan Berry a chance? He's going to be within 2/10, but this is not an overtaking spot unless you are ahead already going into the corner. Try and get a good run through here. Gets on the battery early. Does get a good run. Wow. Very good driving there from Ryan Berry. He gets side by side. Does get pushed onto the grass this time. So he's been saved from mowing that grass. But he can't really go around the outside. Or he's going to prove me wrong. Because he's going to try. Oof. Very nearly contact. There might have been a bit of wheel-to-wheel contact there. But nothing too major. Ryan Berry has to back out of it. And Lyon manages to hold him to keep walking out. As we have more moves, Acorn and then 89 side by side, not the greatest camera angle there. Ooh, these two getting very side by side. Acorn has to back out of it, and that's going to allow, who is that behind? That's LB Racing to maybe look up the inside. No, not quite close enough. There was a yellow flag there, Broody. I'm not too sure who for, but we will carry on because this battle for third place is hotting up. In fact, there's even more battling going on here. LB Racing and Newgarden has a dive. Ooh. Very close, as you can see that LB Racing actually has damage. But here comes Ryan Berry down inside of Lyon. Not quite. Gonna have to try and go all the way around the outside of Luffield. Can he do it? Not quite. Maybe go for a switchback. He gets on the battery early again. Doesn't quite get the exit he needs though. He's gonna have to burn a lot if he wants to get the move done, and that's exactly what he is doing. He's got the inside line for Cops. Let's go on board with him. He manages to hold it. Lyo gets pushed off, pushed wide. And is that Ryan Berry through? That is Ryan Berry through. So Ryan Berry up to P4 now, sets his sights on Gareth in front for the podium positions. And Gareth is actually closing in on Mike. So Gareth and Lyo, to be fair, don't have bad pace on these hards, and Kev Rusky just on the verge of getting DRS in the Ferrari, our other hard runner. So very interesting battles going on throughout the grid, as has come to be expected here in VSL F2. But it's this battle from, well, now it's second all the way down to 7th place that is spiking my interest right now, as LB pits very early from the mediums. He did have that damage that we could see, so maybe thinking he's had enough of that front wing damage and wants to get it off. But Lyo has had a spin, and that has been the story of his season so far. He's been in good positions nearly every race, and then had an incident through his fault or not may have come, and this time I think he's only got himself to blame. I think he was on his own and just lost the car. Unfortunate for the Aston Martin man, finds himself down in P7, so not all hope lost, but definitely a few positions on multiple seconds that he has thrown away there. But get his head back down and focus, and there's still a good position to be found for him, and to maybe get his championship back on track if there is any hope of saving it. Lee setting fastest up on fairly fresh hards, but he is all the way at the back, so he's just going to try and salvage something, but showing that he does have the pace on the hard tyres, and showing that there is pace on the hards that maybe Gareth and Lyo haven't found the full capability of yet, because Lee has set the fastest up without any DRS, whereas Gareth has had DRS this lap, I think. Can he set the fastest lap? So his tyres are 3 laps older, but on the hards that's 3 laps is minuscule wear. Less than 10% I'd say, maybe 10%, I don't know. But no, Lee showing some potential if there is a safety car maybe for him to get back involved and show what he actually has got in that. What car is he in? The Williams? He is in the other Williams. But it's Gareth who needs to be making moves as Y-Racer. He throws Lee for the fastest lap, but he is on medium tyres, old medium tyres at that. But these three are about to converge into a battle. This will only help Ryan, who got the lead on the opening few corners and hasn't looked back since. He has grabbed the lead and ran. Got that gap to over 3 seconds now, and will only look to pull away further if these three do battle for that second place. Let's have a look what can be done down Hanger Straight, if anything, by any of these drivers. Ooh, Ryan Berry nearly loses the back end there. That is going to cost him momentum and time. That's going to allow Kev Rusky to close up. He doesn't have DRS, and that could be saving grace for Ryan Berry. That was a massive moment and an incredible save from him. Wow, so nearly found himself going up towards the wall. He needs to calm himself down a little bit and try and get back within DRS. He is panicking maybe just a tad and using all his battery. He's going to have no battery left anymore. Meanwhile, Kev Rusky has nearly 30% behind, so he's maybe making himself a little bit vulnerable, but does get himself back in that DRS, so a price worth paying maybe before the McLaren man. As Y-Racer sets another fastest lap, so it's showing that he has pace as well. So a lot of maybe potential front runners in this race getting involved in incidents early on and not being able to show what they can do towards the front of this grid. But there is all possibilities of a safety car, and they can release their talent towards the end. And you know, the only lap that matters is the last lap and where you are when that happens. Lyle and George side by side. Lyle gets the move done into Cott. So maybe George made a mistake, or Lyle's got a very good exit on those hards. The mediums might be starting to die just a little bit. The hards maybe becoming the faster tyre right now. But I don't think the mediums should be too bad at this moment. I think there should still be a little bit of life left in them. Acorn getting the penalty in P9. He's having a close battle with Newgarden right now, actually. Newgarden going to look to the inside of the Stowe, and this should be quite an easy overtake. It is, gets the move done way before Stowe, pulls back onto the racing line, and that is the Red Bull up to P9. Now focus on the Ferrari, 1.5 seconds to close. But these four now battling for that second place. As we have yellows in sets 3, is that George? Yeah, George has spun out the last corner, so he gets overtaken by Newgarden and then bins it out the last corner. Ooh! Thankfully, he goes to there, otherwise that could have been an absolute aeroplane crash for Raab, who finds himself down in P10. Lucky for George, because he would have got a massive penalty for that if he hadn't ghosted, and Raab's race would have been almost certainly over. So all's well that ends well in that little complication. LB gets a 5-second penalty for speeding, so he's into the pits again. He only pitted 2 laps ago. I'm not too sure why. Does he have damage? Let's have a quick look. Let's have a look when he gets down to the Haas garage. I'm going to take a quick sip of my drink when I can. Today, they do have a front wing out, so he must have picked up damage somewhere, maybe into the end of the 5-second stop go to make that pain just a little bit worse. So the Haasman gets serviced and gets sent back on his way, but that gap between the top 5 is coming down. So battles are brewing. When will the kettle boil? Could it be on lap 11 of this race? Who knows? George and Y-Racer going at it still. So, ooh, that's going to be a big one. Manages to just tap the wall lightly and save the car. So George having a few excursions these past lap and a half, and some issues arising in the Haas garage. They are a lap down now with LB Racing. As you can see, he is between first and second. He's that car that you can see just in front of Mike. Hopefully he will get out of the way if these people do catch, because he's on fresh medium, so there is potential that he could actually pull away and go up towards Alpine 9. But Garrett saving ERS nicely, nearly on 90% battery, so doing a good job here, and you can see that light flashing on the outside of Mike in front. So Gareth is in the better position when it comes to battery and tyre wear, but he does still need to maybe get this move done if he wants to close up to Ryan in front. A little bit of weaving there from Mike. Oh, that was more than one move, but Gareth's still going to try to go around the outside. It's not quite going to work for him this time round. That was maybe a little bit aggressive there from Mike on the weaving, but Gareth brakes late, goes around the outside and gets the move done. Very impressive from him. Ryan Berry is the fastest runner for speed in the pits, but that is Gareth up into P2. An impressive move from him. So maybe Mike losing the tyres a little bit. Ryan Berry though doesn't pit for damage, so this is just his one and only pit stop hopefully for the hard tyres. Where will he come out? Around, hopefully ahead of George for his sake, and I think he will do, but let's get back on board with this top three. Can Mike come back at Gareth? I don't think so. He doesn't have the battery to fight all of the tyres anymore. A pit stop coming very soon, I imagine, for all of the people on the mediums that started on them. So Ryan Berry is out of the pit lane in P9. He is the first of the pit stoppers. Will comfortably get to the end from there though, so no need to worry for him. Will Ryan respond to, or will Alpine Ryan respond to McLaren Ryan in pit in this lap? I'd imagine so, as he's actually getting pressured by LB Racing. LB Racing might be going past him on this lap, you can see. Dempsey having a little squabble in front going into Stowe. Let's go on board with Ryan, so I imagine we'll see the Alpine dive up into the pit lane. Yep, there we go. He peels off. Gareth will obviously stay out. Mike is coming in as well. Kev staying out because he is on hards also. So this is important for Kev. He needs to push. Mike gets another penalty as well. So two of the three leaders that have pitched so far, both got penalties. But Mike, this is crucial for his race. He needs to push because he needs to get within that DRS of Gareth. Currently 1.1 seconds behind, so he has a tenth behind. Lyle nowhere near, so he only needs to worry right in front. He doesn't need to look behind. This is just push, push, push. Newgarden staying out, so he is going long on the mediums. He is our only medium runner that is still out if George does pit. Where will Ryan come out in comparison to Ryan Berry? He should come out comfortably in front. It'll be Mike that will be close, I think. But he's going to come out in front. His tyres will be cold and the hards, as we've seen on the opening lap, do take maybe a lap or two to actually perform up to a decent standard. You can see the McLaren just going into the loop section there in the background. Y-Racer setting the fastest lap on his set of hards, so that shows there is pace in new tyres. They are only 2 laps old, so the hard warm-up is pretty decent, obviously. So Gareth and Kev will potentially lose a bit of time now, but they will have opportunities to find it back, because there is a crash. Who is that? Is that Lee? It is Lee, off in the Williams. Manages to get the car going again, so has a little spin through turn 1 and then rejoins. Still 13th, I don't think he lost the position. Rav in P12, closing up to the back of Y-Racer. In fact, he'll be losing time because Y-Racer did just do the fastest lap of the race, didn't he? So nobody within a second of each other right now. We are in a bit of a strategic foul phase, I guess you could call it. There is yellows in the middle, that's N89. He's lost it through cops and binned it on the exit, and that is a safety car. That is a safety car. Wow, this is big for Newgarden. Newgarden has just peeled off into the pits, so this could be very advantageous for the Red Bull man. Will he come out maybe ahead of Ryan and those lot? If he does, this is huge for his race. This is perfect. Mike decides to pit. Will Ryan pit as well? And get those two will get rid of their 5-second stop go. Maybe go back onto another set of mediums to the end. It depends if they have a fresh set. I don't know if they do, but Newgarden does come out about 3-4 seconds behind Ryan. 2.5 actually. We will see Gareth and Kevin to the pits this lap, along with Lyle, you'd imagine. Did they pit for mediums? Mike puts on a fresh set of mediums. Ryan is going to as well, so this realistically kind of evens the playing field, because majority of drivers, well, the majority of the front runners from the opening 12 laps will be on medium tyres, because Gareth, Kev and Lyle will all pit for mediums when they get around to the pit lane. And then we also have Mike and Ryan, who have managed to do another pit stop and get rid of that 5-second penalty. They may have put on the medium as well, but it has dropped them behind the likes of Newgard and Acorn, Y-Rater and Raab. They find themselves in 9th and 10th respectively, to Mike and Ryan, ahead of George, who has also decided to take this opportunity to pit. Lee on old tyres, N89 and LB also pitting, as there we see our leaders pit, all three of them going for medium tyres, you would imagine. So coming to the pit lane, the minion looking Ferrari pit crew. So they are all going to put themselves on the medium to safety car. You can see on the minimap waiting on the Wellington straight for our leader, which will be Gareth. This does help Kev Rusky and Liar, because they are going to come out in P2 and 3. So the front three will all be on mediums. I'll have a quick sip of my drink again, so give me uno momento. So our front three have caught up to the safety car now, nearly. We do actually have, who's that? That's LB Racing, who is in the front train. So I don't think the game actually lets them through. So hopefully he will peel off to the side of the track on the restart and just let all these guys go through. Mike is pitting for a set of softs. He's going to go aggressive. N89 gets a penalty for speeding into the pits. People really need to be careful, because it is a safety car. There is no need to push the speed limits. Just make sure you get in and out without collecting any unnecessary penalties. But clearly people are maybe lacking a bit of concentration under the safety car, and it is showing. Let's have a look at the penalty situation. So Acorn is on a 3-second one with Raab, who has actually had a really solid race. Started at the back of the grid on debut. Lee on an 8-second penalty. I assume there's a 5-second stop going there, so if he wanted to, he could pit. Where is he on track? He is just coming through Woodcut, so he could pit and serve the 5-second penalty and get rid of that, but who knows if he will. George in 11th on 6 seconds, there's no 5-second stop going there. N89 has a 5-second stop go that we've just seen him collect there when he pit all on this lap. So I don't know if he actually can pit again, because if he does, I don't think he'll catch up to the safety car, which is just going across the line to start lap 16. Yep. So 11 laps to go in this race. We might get going this time round, maybe next time round, if people need to pit again. There are more pit stoppers. Let's get rid of the penalty screen. So who's in the pits? Ryan Berry in the pits. He's going to lose a few positions to Lee and George and Mike. So he's going to follow in Mike's footsteps and go for the softs? No. He's putting his old hards back on. I'm going to assume that's a mistake, because the mediums could have easily gone to the end. I don't know why he's decided to put the hards back on. I don't know, I'm confused. He literally did 12 laps on the mediums before, so I don't know why he doesn't think he could do 12 laps on them again. They were a fresh set, so they were definitely going to go to the end. So Ryan Berry maybe shooting himself in the foot a little bit there. Also Mike might have, I don't know if the softs will be competitive come the end of the race, but he should be a lot quicker than the likes of Lee, who's on 12 lap old hards. They're going to be dead by the end. That's 22 laps he wants to do on a set of hards. I know they don't mind too much, but even then they surely are going to be not in the best of nick come the end. But who knows? Will the safety car come in this lap? If it doesn't, I imagine we're going to see Ryan Berry pit, because I just don't understand this strategy call. And I don't understand Lee's strategy call either. I don't know why Lee hasn't pit, but maybe they can prove me wrong, hopefully. You don't want to see any drivers make strategical errors. You want to see everyone fighting at the front and just letting their talent decide who's going to win the race. But the safety car doesn't seem to be pitting. So people will have opportunities to change their strategy. So let's see if anyone does decide to do that. I don't imagine any front guys will pit. Maybe someone further towards the back. Nobody taking the opportunity as of yet. I think it's Ryan Berry we need to watch, because if anyone is going to pit, it's going to be him. No, he stayed out, so he's committed to these hards. So maybe he's seen something that I haven't, or anybody else hasn't, and thinks this is the correct strategy. So everyone's caught up now. So this is kind of a pointless lap behind the safety car. We could have gone racing again already, but we have another lap. This is good for the likes of Mike, who will be running it thin on tyres come the end. So the drivers just making sure they keep heating the tyres. As we have, what's happened here? Mike and Ryan switching positions. I'm not sure if that was maybe just a little mistake there from Ryan going past Mike, or if Mike maybe had a bit of a moment. But everything seems to be resolved now, so we're all good. Get ready to go racing again. In half a lap's time, Gareth, he managed to successfully do a safety car restart on the sprint race towards the end. Can he do it again here in the actual race where it matters more? Pressure's on. He's got Kev and Lyle on fresh mediums behind, and then people on fresh hards all the way down to P9 or P8. And then maybe Mike coming through the grid on those softs. We did see fresh softs on who ran softs. It might have actually been Mike who ran softs in the sprint race, I think, and he gained a few positions from it. Can he do the same again? Who knows? We're about to find out, because the safety car is in this lap. It disappears into the pit lane on the right hand side, and it is time to get going. Gareth warming up the tyres. He went very late in the sprint race, waited until pretty much he came to the line. Will he do the same again? Let's go on board with Kev to see. Also, it'll be interesting to see what LB does. Will he get out of the way like hopefully he will do? At the minute he isn't. He's going to carry on and maybe interfere in this front battle, which we don't want to see. But how's everyone getting on behind? Acorn close to Newgarden. Oh, Acorn spins! Acorn taps the back of Newgarden and spins towards the wall. So that is the Alpine out, and there's more spins. Lee on the older hard to spun. Mike loses a position to Ryan Berry, who's had a very good restart up to P8. Towards the front end, it's pretty close. There are more yellows in sets of one. I think Acorn has spun again. George getting all involved, not George, LB, sorry, getting all involved in these front three. They all seem to be past him soon if Light can get the move done. He hasn't quite yet. There are more battles going on with N89 and George. Where is George? Made a little bit of stake, maybe he's lost maybe a second to N89 already. Mike on the softs behind Ryan Berry, who is very close to Rob behind. Gets a very good run. Maybe going to go for a move into Magnus and Beckett. He's not close enough. He's going to have to back out of that one, and he does with smart racing there. From the McLaren as he taps the back of Rob, looking to make the move. Can get it done on the exit, but he's also got to worry about Mike behind, who wants to utilise the fresh softs and the grip they will provide. But it's going to be Ryan going for a move on Rob into Stowe. Gets the move done, does he? Rob tries to hold him on the outside, they're side by side. It's going to come down into the first 10. He's going to be last on the brakes. They seem to break away even, but Rob goes a little bit deep. There's contact. Mike going to go around the outside of the maul. He does. Well, around the outside of Rob anyway, but gets a bit sideways. Ooh. Very nearly some contact there, but very clean racing in the end. Great to see from those lot. And 9 getting involved as well. So Rob losing a few positions there. Lee getting a time penalty, but towards the front of the grid, Gareth with nearly a second lead over Kev. So Kev has a little bit of work to do on this lap to stay within that 1 second and get the DRS come next lap. These three though have got a little gap behind to Ryan, who is our highest hard runner. He's got Newgarden just over a second behind him, with his teammate Y Racer close behind. LB picking up another penalty. Ryan Berry nearly 2 seconds off. He's got to worry about Mike, who on the fresh soft does seem to have a bit of pace, but maybe not making the inroads he was hoping for, because he's going to fall off towards the end, you'd imagine. And then behind him it's Rob, who we've seen in an absolute scrap last lap, nearly making some contact with Mike and Ryan. In fact, there might have been just a little bit of wheel banging, but nothing too severe that I think the stewards have to get involved in. But it's the battle towards the front that we should be looking at, because it's half a tenth separating DRS or no DRS for Kev. So he needs to get his foot down and concentrate. He actually has similar battery to Gareth, so he's in a good position electronically. And he has actually gapped Lyre behind, so Lyre was out of the 1 second window. Kev Rusky says the fastest up of the race, so there is intent in that Ferrari to go for this race win and deny Gareth extending his championship lead by a massive margin, because Davo isn't here. I should have actually mentioned that already. Davo isn't here tonight. Our man who's second in the championship, the Merc driver, is not here, so this is actually a great opportunity for Gareth. Will he maybe go into championship conservation mode if Kev does get close and maybe accept the second place? But this is Gareth. Yeah, talking about the man who won 3 races in a row, might have even been 4. I can't quite remember. He wins for fun here in VSL, so he's not going to give one up too easily, you'd imagine. So let's see what can Kev do, because there is still some battles going on between these hard runners in 4th and 6th, and also Mike behind Ryan Berry on the softs. What can he do? There are a lot of storylines playing out in this race. Battles all the way throughout the field. Not a lot of DRS for Rob, who is gradually falling down the grid after having such a promising few opening laps. He's going to be demoted to P10 here, you'd imagine. Now the RS to fight with, and that is Rob demoted down to 10th. Newgarden getting a 3 from 12, and the practice of George getting overtaken by Acorn as well. Let's scramble to these leaders once again. Only 4 heads separating Gareth and Kev. So the battle is on the horizons for the win, with only 6 laps to go. Gareth actually goes a little bit deep, a little mistake there from the Williams man. Could that allow Kev to close up and maybe go for a move? I'm not 100% sure. No, he's not quite going to be close enough into Brooklands. So he just needs to conserve this gap through Luffield, Cox, Dunmax and Beckett's, and then maybe go for it down the Wellington Straight or other DRS zone around here. So them two have done a very good job at gapping Lyre, who just doesn't seem to have the pace of the front two. He is now 2 seconds behind Kev, and kind of in no man's land, because he's also just over 2 seconds ahead of Ryan in P4 as well. So maybe just needs to accept P3 and get to the end. But I'll tell you what isn't being accepted, it's the race win at the minute, because Kev is all over, well not all over, but trying to get all over the back of Gareth. Half a second is the gap at the minute. Gareth's lines aren't quite optimal from what I can see here. He's maybe not driving as well as we've seen him do throughout this season so far, and allow it Kev. As you can see, he's just not really making the apexes. So maybe struggling with the car a little bit is the Williams man. At the minute, he is still keeping Kev behind, and that is all that matters. Taking the loop a little bit better this time around, so it's all about composure right now for these two. There is a race win on the line, and if you're live, you will be hoping that maybe these two battle and have an instant. You can see the pressure getting up to Kev now as well, because he is making a few mistakes as well. There's still only half a second separating them, 3/10 between the two Red Bulls, who also are on the back of Alpine Ryan. But Newgarden does have a penalty, so he will drop behind his teammate as things stand. As in fact, Y-Racer does seem to have more pace at the minute. He is very close to his teammate in front. Very good exit from Magnussen Beckett. Is this the overtake that Y-Racer's been waiting for? Pulls into the slipstream, pulls out inside line into Stowe, and that should be the move. I don't imagine he'll fight too hard, he doesn't, so that is Y-Racer up into the top 5 and can now focus on Ryan in front for that 4th position. Newgarden goes a little bit deep, as you can see. I'll be racing there. There is a lap down, so Will Ghost. Ryan Berry still ahead of Mike, so Mike hasn't been able to capitalise on those softs anywhere near as well as he would have hoped he could have, but here we go again. The front two coming onto the Wellington straight. What's the ERS tonight? Kev is in a better position. There has been a spin. It's Raab. Raab has spun on the exit of turn 1. He doesn't seem to have lost too much time, so he might have saved it. Maybe only a half spin for the Alfa Romeo. As Gareth goes deep, this could be the opportunity for Kev to go round the outside of Luffield. Gareth made a mistake in Brooklands, and this allows Kev to really put the pressure on. Less than a 10th behind, coming down into Cops. Will he go for the inside line? Gareth tries to defend it. Kev backs out. Smart racing there from the Ferrari. Doesn't want to risk his race entirely right now. There are still 3.5 laps to go. So there is still opportunities for the future. And he does have 15% more ERS than the Williams. So he has battery to play with and also DRS. So maybe waiting to make the move, make a guaranteed overtake instead of risking a half move and having a collision. That is not what both of these drivers will want. But one man who will want that is this man right here, Lyra Blade, who will want P3 to improve to P2 or 1. That's what he will want right now. And you can just see those two in front. Only 3/10 separating them. They'll be picking up another penalty. That is quite a lot of penalties for him so far. But look at Kev, he is starting to turn the screw and put real pressure on Gareth in front. The 100 metre board has been wiped out for anyone that is not using line. That could be a hindrance, but only 3 laps to go, so not too much worries. Here we go. Kev using the ERS, trying to get a good exit, opens DRS. 3/10 behind, not going to be close enough to make a move this time by. Gareth on 14% ERS, Kev on 30. This could be crucial in 2 laps time when this will be one of the final overtaking opportunities of the race. So Kev needs to stay calm and make sure that he maybe close that gap a little bit more for when he does want to make the move, because Gareth does seem to have pretty good straight line speed, even though he doesn't have the slipstream or the DRS. 2.5 tenths separated. If Kev can have a good Magnussen Beckett, there could be a potential move down to Stowe. Misses his apex just a little bit. That's going to compromise his run a little. Yeah, he's fallen back just half a tenth to a tenth, and you can see the light now flashing on the back of Gareth. He's on 80%. So Gareth, the man who normally conserves the RX like an absolute king, is being put under pressure. We haven't seen this sort of pressure been put on Gareth for a while. I mean, I'm talking like he's all over the place. He's still winning this race and has been leading this race comfortably for most of it since the safety car, well, for all of it since the safety car restart. So I really shouldn't be dissing Gareth as much as I maybe am. He's still driving a great race. But you know, when someone's been as dominant as Gareth, you don't expect to see someone like Kev maybe put him under this much pressure, but Gareth is still dealing with it very well. The light is still flashing, but Kev uses a lot of ERS there, so that is going to be the always, in fact, Y-Racer gets a penalty, but also gets past Ryan in the protest. He lets the move go. Ooh, they were 3 wide for a second there, as I think Y-Racer had to. Oh, this was contact. Ryan spins. That is such a shame for the Alpine. I think there might have been a legal overtake there for Y Racer, so he had to let Ryan back through, and now he's going to be side by side with N89. Don't have any more contact. They don't. Ryan has to slot into P9 as there's battling going on in the Red Bull camp. There's also battles going on for the lead, but I don't know what to watch. There's so much going on. We've got to go for the lead as Kev is burning all of his battery now. So this swings it into Gareth's favour. He will have more ERS than Kev. So all he has to do is contend one more lap, and this will be Gareth's race and another win for the Williams. But he still has that one more lap to deal with, and that is coming up right now as we start the final lap of the British Grand Prix. The gap 4 tenths, pretty similar to what we've seen throughout this whole race. There's been contact between the Red Bulls. Y Racer is off on the first. No, that's the final corner, not the first corner. So absolute devastation in the Red Bull camp. But it's this front battle that we need to focus on, because Kev is running out of opportunities. He's been within half a second of Gareth for the last 5-6 laps, but he's not been able to make anything count. He has one more opportunity, and that is down into Stowe at the end of the Hanger Straight. Can he make it count? Gareth gets a little bit loose. Gareth makes a tiny little mistake, and that's going to allow Kev to close up. 3.5 tenths on this final lap here in VSL F2. What can he do? Coming through Cops, he seems to get a decent run. This is going to be close. Less than 3 tenths separating the top two with less than half a lap remaining. Coming through Max and Beckett, Kev needs to make this the run of his life if he wants to get this overtake done now. It's a pretty decent run. Get on that battery, open up DRS. 3.5 tenths. Gareth weaving a little bit. I don't know if the stewards will frown upon that, but he's going to hold the position into Stowe. Is that the last opportunity for Kev gone? I think it is. It's going to be Gareth who holds the position into the Bell chicane. Yeah, and there's contact behind, I think. N89 making more contact, but that doesn't matter right now because it's going to be Gareth who fights and hangs on to P1 to win the British Grand Prix. It's Kevin P2, only 4 tenths behind. Lyle in P3, kind of in no man's land for those last 5-6 laps. Ryan Berry in P4, so Newgarden has had an incident. It's really Ryan Berry in P4. Lee just ahead of Alpine Ryan for P5, rounding out top 5. In fact, Ryan gets top 5. Newgarden P6, Lee drops down to P7. Mike goes up to P7 now. Lee down to P8. Ryan up to P8. Lee down to P9. So Lee must have had a lot of penalties. N89 in P10. Y Racer in 11th after that last lap crash. And it's going to be Acorn who looks to be setting the fastest lap and also get the final point of the race. LB has crossed the line for P14. So he is our last finisher. But what a race this has been. Wow, absolute action once again all the way until the final corner. And can Acorn round off this race by getting the fastest lap? He got a purple middle, he gets the fastest lap, and that is the race finish. What an absolute amazing race, all the way until the last corner. VSL F2. Oh, wow. So we'll run through your final classifications there. There was a few penalties, so positions have changed, but the man of the moment, once again, Gareth. He seems to be unstoppable here. And will extend his championship lead nicely over Davo, who wasn't here this evening. And he capitalises fully by winning the sprint and getting P1 in the actual race as well. Maximum points nearly. Not quite getting the fastest lap, but incredible for Gareth, who sprays the champagne over nobody, over the tarmac, over the cars. But yeah, Kev gave it an absolutely incredible battle, but not quite able to get Gareth there on the final few laps. So it's going to be Gareth who wins, Kev in P2. Ryan coming home. Wait, no. Oh, it's really confusing. Let's get the... Actually... Come on, move across. There we go. It's Gareth in P1, Kev P2, Lyo recovers his race nicely to get P3. Then Ryan Berry coming out of nowhere to get P4. I'm not sure what happened on the last lap to Newgarden or Y Race, to be honest. We didn't see the contact, we just seen him in the wall. But yeah, Ryan Berry in P4. M. Ryan P5. Newgarden drops to P6 on the last lap. Mike P7. Rob, from starting last, has had an up and down race but ends up in P8. Lee in P9, N89 rounds out the top 10. Y race for 11th after that last lap contact and crash. Acorn with the fastest lap P12 and your final point scorer. George P13 and rounding off the hash duo is LB Racing in P14 with a disappointing race for Haas, but yeah, that has been VSL F2 and an absolutely crazy sprint race. Did you ever expect anything else? Because I didn't. But join us again next week when we'll go again. And I'm sure there will be a lot more action in store. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. My voice needs to go and recover and be soothed. Maybe get some Lemsip down me. So yeah, thank you very much for watching and see you again next week.